We got a new visitor to my desk today. It's Dinobot. And he refuses to talk to those people who are going to comment on this video, trying to talk about how I hate everything, how I think all fanfics suck, how I only read bad fanfics, or ask the question of why don't I read a good fanfic? Or insult and comment that they don't like the riffs, that I should stop complaining, and I should stop riffing if I hate the fic so much. He will not speak to you because he remembers that you guys are the ones who chose this. You guys were the ones who knew that this was a riff. You knew this was going to be made fun of. You knew that this fic was bad. You knew what you were getting into because you clicked on it. You picked it, you chose it, and now you're here. What you could have done, if you do not like riffs or wanted to see me read a good story, was go to Secret Origins of Skulu, where you can spend several minutes listening to me trying and failing to not laugh at a comedy. You can listen to that, or you can stay here. I can't believe you brought me here just for a ridiculous intro gag. I will not be participating in any more of these. Right, Dinobot? To the rest of you, welcome back to Micah's Stupidity, Dark Side of Dimensions. Enjoy. Act 17. A dark room with white curtains. Author's note. What is it, the Bible? Stop! Stop right there. Don't you dare quote the Bible. Every time somebody wants to see bigger and brighter and more epic than it is, or some villain wants to make it sound poetic, he quotes the Bible. So, no. We ain't doing that. We ain't having that here. So, stop right there. No. Go home and think about what you did. Noraku sat by himself in the Lotte fields as his insect spies returned home, bringing back the jewel shard he used on Koga, as well as having to witness battle between Inuyasha and Koga. Now I understand the existence of the Dark Angel. He hissed himself, and I thought my own demonic powers. He's really starting to think nastily. You think? Noraku, starting to think nastily. The villain. I must understand more of its stubbornness. And who knows, it may be key to my ultimate dominance. Hey, Dark Guarantee, I got a question. I know you grab people who've had bad lives and had sucky war histories and have been abused and kicked down and beaten and brought to the point where they just can't scream. That was their quote. And had such miserable lives and had such unfortunate luck and, are looked down upon their peers and treated like shit throughout all their lives. Yeah. I got a question. Yeah. Why not Noraku? What? I mean, we never see Nobunaga's home life. The only time we're told that Nobunaga has a crappy village and everybody makes fun of him and treats him like shit is in this fic. That's the only time. In other words, it's made up shit. You could almost make an argument for the other three by posting what you think is evidence from their shows. It's sucky arguments, but they're arguments. You can't with here. You have to make up shit. Noraku is a thief. He's been beaten down, kicked around, burnt alive, wrecked and has had a far, far more horrible life than Nobunaga. Well, he did lose his girl. He did. What? He did lose the girl. What? Kikyo. Onigumo, you know, Naraku's human half. He loves Kikyo. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons he sacrificed himself to be Naraku. What? You have a far more person who has a worse life than Nobunaga, but you picked Nobunaga over him. Why? What? I thought as much. Kagome helped Koga treat Koga's wounds with a warm, damp cloth and bandages them up. There, is that better? Don't worry about me. I've had worse. Koga said with a smile. Thank you for caring so much, Kagome. He also said nothing. He wasn't really interested in Koga showing off or trying to irritate him, especially considering the events that had just happened. All the dead guards were buried and Moroku gave a small eulogy. But after that, the friends felt it was time that the princess understood what was happening. Nobunaga is a dark angel, Kiro. Tsuyu asked in shock. I know this appears shocking, but it is true. You are one of the only few of many who actually can see what Nobunaga is about. Tsuyu and Kimo were astounded. I don't understand. How does this happen? What causes it to happen? He also scoffed. Look, long story short, that Ichit was in love with your wife. And because he couldn't have her, in his overwhelming misery, he was seized by the darkness and now he's one of them. Got it? I'm showing you an image of the Raku people! For a reason! Tsuyu froze where she was. Nobunaga? Carol. She cried under her breath. First time real, really kicked in. She remembered all the times he would bless when near her. How he would stutter and stammer, sometimes when he spoke. While he was so brave, he galloped towards her when she was in danger. She held her hand to his cheek in a deep shock. Her husband couldn't believe this either, as he thought. He was in love with the princess, and yet he saved my life, putting himself in harm's way. In Inuyasha and Kagome, she even remembered the night Nobunaga collapsed, and the way he sounded upset, so hopeless before he went. There was no questioning. Oh, Nobunaga! Carol, she cried. Her tears were falling, and her heart was aching with guilt. He's dead because of me? Sago nodded her head sadly, as did Shippo. Yoga hopped on Shippo's head. I'm sorry for you to hear of this, princess. As a matter of fact, Iwasa had a worse backstory to Nobunaga. Why didn't you go after Iwasa when he was born? Hated by the people, treated like dirt, and falsely accused. Koga overheard everything. So he just killed over because he couldn't be with his dream girl? That sounds kind of... I'm with Koga. Everyone turned and stared at him sharply. Kagome was impressed. Good boy. Hey, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Loads of birds in the sky. He could have just moved on and picked any one of them he wanted. Heh, that's rich coming from you, when you're always flirting with Kagome. Despite his correctness, Koga was infuriated. Shut up, Mutt. I can have any woman I want. Please stop, Carol, said Tsuyu, began to softly leap. Oh, princess, her husband said as he comforted her. Tsuyu loved her husband more than any other, but the guilt was eating at her hard. Though she never had feelings for Nobunaga, she hated the thought all this was happening to him. Nobunaga, I'm so sorry. Seriously, what was the darkness or even Nobunaga expecting to happen? Was she just the guy that she actually loved for him? Seems like you're putting all the pain on the girl. Granted, this is Mike, and so I'm not surprised. Simple curled up with Sango and Kilala. I need to see a beautiful princess so upset. Sango patted his head softly. The princess needed a good rest after all the trauma she had suffered, and everyone was invited to the palace for a rest by Lord Kumo. Sadly, they had better things to be doing! Kagome and Yuasa stayed behind with Koga. Kagome gave him a straight look. Nice going. What? Snapped Koga. He could have moved on, but he chose to cry about it and die. Kagami wouldn't even excuse Koko's wolf instincts for his heartlessness, but Inuyasha insisted. Let's go, Kagami. We got other things to deal with besides this wolf cub. Hey! Snapped Koko. But Kagami and Inuyasha were already heading out to catch with the others. Whatever. I don't need you guys. Koko grumbled, and he headed himself out to the village. Nice stringing him out like that. Kagami didn't seem to care much how, so he was more concerned about the prior battle. I'm sure by now Naraku knows about the Dark Angels too. Inuyasha thought about it as well. Knowing that Naraku was a creature of extreme darkness, he was able to see them himself, though this would have to be confirmed. We should tell the others. Naraku's really involved in this. We could be in for big trouble. Meanwhile, TK, are we sure we have to do the Digimon part? Because it's kind of crappy, as well as the pony and the Titans. Actually, let's just ditch everything and just do the Inuyasha bit. I mean, granted, the Inuyasha bits aren't good, but they're less painful. They're fine. That's all I got to say about them, is that they're fine. Not horrible, just fine. And today's latest roll is... Ichigo again! Meanwhile, Ichigo wasn't paying much attention in class. He'd been pondering hard on what to do about the Dark Angels, and how to expose them as monsters. He had lots of notes and plans on how to attract them, or to get their attention. But all his ideas seemed fruitless, as he didn't seem to have the power to pull things off. Even if it did, because he couldn't actually see the Dark Angels, how would he know they were around? Then he looked over his shoulder at Kairi, who was in the seat beside his, caught a glimpse of him staring at her, but her features hardened as he went right back to focusing on her work, which really aggravated him. Then, as he turned back, he saw the teacher standing there before him. Is something wrong, Takashi? He asked. No, sir. Just taking notes. Ichigo stammered, but the teacher observed his paper. Funny, you don't look like notes written on the blackboard we've been reading. You look more like plots against someone, or something. Ichigo felt really embarrassed by now. Wanted to explain, how could he? Then again, the teacher never gave him a chance. But if everybody knows it's the digital... you know! Never mind. Just think about this as you write me up a 10-page essay on how important it is to pay attention in class. In class, after school. But, teacher, Japanese school days last until 5 p.m. anyway. Wouldn't that be taking place in some cram schools that we could be going to? I knew it. It was only a matter of time before I got sucked into another episode of Do You Even Japanese, Bro? Some students chuckled at TK. Kairi only sighed and shook her head in disappointment, while Ichigo crumpled a piece of paper in his hand. Noticed by the day's end, he inserted his attention and handed in his essay. Still, he was not deterred. Excuse me a sec. Okay, I did the research, so now it's time for, yes, we're doing this twice in a row, people! Do you even Japanese, bro? Come to find out, there is no such thing as detention in Japanese schools. Actually, punishing students is a very, very rare thing to happen in there. The worst that you're going to get is sitting in a position where you're just sitting on your heels for a few minutes. That's it. Or you're just going to have a one-on-one talk with the teacher. The only thing that would be happening to TK right now would be that the teacher would be having a long conversation with him. So, no, this is again bullshit. And once again, an American trying to insert his American beliefs into the Japanese school system. And yes, I know, Maiken. You don't care. You wanted to do this just to move your piece of shit story forward. Well, guess what? I do care. And what's more, I'm not doing this research for you. I'm doing this for the people listening. They might like to know how Japanese schools are set up. So for you, this isn't for you. This is for them. You can just go on and continue messing up understanding the Japanese school system. I'm going to continue to learn. Oh, and bonus round. Being held back. doesn't happen. Not really. So, yeah. Note to any Westerners listening to this, you want to write about the Japanese school system in a fanfic? Research! Guarantee you, what you write down will not be what happens. Kairi was with Ken and Yali at one of the schoolyard picnic tables, while Cody was doing some kendo stances on the grass for his training skip. She watched how Ichigo walked off. No idea what he was plotting. He was planning on rubbing his hands together. Really getting worried about him. He's so determined to bring the Dark Angels down. Personally, I don't blame him. Yali shook his head. Really determined, but he's really being stupid. Under a lot of pressure. I don't like the way he's behaving either, but we can't ignore that. Cody eagerly thrust his stick. Don't think it answers. It matters, Ken. Ichigo has no right to be acting like such a jerk. All this only made Kairi feel worse. He had to talk to Davis again. They could warn him about Ichigo. Heroes all got there and felt skeptical about this. Last time I checked, Davis hated your guts. Seems to hate all of us for matter. Ken was aware. Yeah, I gotta ask, why does he hate Ken? Yes, I'm thinking about this. I just need to talk to him. I need to think you're so angry and miserable, not to mention a prisoner of the Dark Zone. All the Dark Angels do is meditate, go and collect Dark Aura, and then meditate some more. How can he sit like that for all eternity? He don't deserve to be that way. Remember, we're supposed to be disagreeing with this. Ken began to have thoughts of his own dark past, how he became the Digimon Emperor, sick of thinking he actually enjoyed being nasty, beating up small Digimon, while under the impression it was just a computer game. He regretted so much, a tear fell his eye. Ken, are you okay? Yeah, just having a bad memory lapse. His girlfriend wrapped her arm around him and cuddled him close. Now Ken was thinking about how bad Davis had but still, I don't think we should bother. The Dark Angels made it clear they don't want to be disturbed. Besides, they're not really hurting anyone, except, ignoring people in trouble. That's fine. I mean, perfectly fine. I won't put Davis through any more of this. Kairi looked down. Well, hey, Davis, you weren't hurting anybody. You were just hurting a bunch of bits of code. I mean, you weren't destroying the world, so... Give me that look. The answer is no. Cody agreed on them. Besides, he suffered enough already, thanks to the dimensions being destroyed. We don't want to make things any worse. That's what you think, Cody! Kairi wasn't so sure. She knew she was right. She still wanted to at least try to talk to Davis' spirit again, no matter what anyone said. I had to go. I had to work in the store this evening. Mom and Dad are going out for the anniversary. I'll go with you, said Ken. It's on my way home anyway. Cody had to leave too for his kid no less than his grandfather. You gonna be okay, Kairi? He asked. Don't worry about me. I can get home fine, answered Kairi. I just really need some alone time right now. Time to think. Her friends said their goodbyes and headed off. Her mind began wandering back when Davis glared at her and the others, telling them all to leave the Dark Zone and never return. I'm an asshole! She didn't remember how infuriated he seemed. Not just at her, but the entire gang, even his own family. She remembered how hostile the other Dark Angels from the other dimensions acted to their former friends, all suffering from reasons similar. Except for Nobunaga. Again. Except for him. And everybody else acted similar, except for Nobunaga. And everybody else did something similar, except for Nobunaga. Are you seeing a pattern here? This is crazy, Kairi groaned to herself. All didn't make her wish to speak to Davis more, even return to the Dark Zone and talk to other Dark Angels. Make them see they didn't have to be miserable or silent. She's right. You could drain Dark Aura from, dictators, from criminals, drain Dark Aura from them. People who do bad things. People who commit suicide. Drain Dark Aura from them. Fix them. So as he saw on the grass, Ken's D3. Obviously, Ken had unknowingly dropped it. So he picked it up, knowing it was full of the dark powers he was very tempted to use to attract Davis to her. Even though it was Ken's D3, because the years he was for the Dark Orders itself, Kari had the power to tap into it. No, what am I thinking? This dark power is very dangerous, and Ken would be steamed at me if I used his D3. Kari's hands trembled as she held the D3. Kari, Ichigo said, scaring her and making her jump. And he jumped too. They both calmed down quickly. You got Ken's D3? Exclaimed Ichigo. What are you doing here? Walking around. Being a Soul Reaper, you? Stopped by your place. Ty said you weren't home, so I figured you're still here. Got his D3. How did you make Ken give it to you? I didn't, Kari explained. Ken dropped it and, well... My, what a convenience! Look, at least you got it. Ichigo cut it. Snip! Oh, her poor hair! Now you use it to lure the Dark Angels out. Kari clutched the D3 tightly. No, you shouldn't, especially not like this. Ichigo couldn't believe her. Kari, what's with you? You're the one who keeps going and want to talk to Davis. And Ken and yell at us to say no. Kari didn't like his attitude one bit. Excuse me one sec. I gotta go check something. Ron! How are you doing? Yep, I confirmed it. Total Ron the Death Eater. And if I wasn't so focused on doing my use every single time on boss roll except for Adam. Trixie doesn't know what you're talking about. Trixie's busy riding on top of Dinobot. I could ride on top of my Dinobot. Kari did not like his attitude one bit. Snapped out. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you, Takeru? Ichigo winced a bit. People only called him by his real name when people were really still at him. Or they were the Japanese version. You're really obsessed with this Dark Angel stuff. Way more than I am, Kari growled. Ichigo couldn't believe what she just said. Hey, I'm just trying to stop those evil freaks from whatever it is they're going to do. They're not freaks and they aren't evil, shouted Kari. They've done nothing wrong. Except apparently allow dictators like Stalin exist. And the French Revolution, the Boston Massacre. Sure, they could have. They had just manned up and didn't whine that they didn't get their dream girls. That cunt Erebus would have backed off. Again, any disagreements? No? Good. Kari's so mad at him, she smacked him across the cheek. And again, and again, and again. Kari's hands returned, reacts with sadness. I don't know who you are anymore, but this is not the guy I knew or want to hang with. Kari. Ichigo tried to console her, but already ran across the field. Kari. But she was already running down the way. Well, fuck you too, he shouted up the street. Everyone could hear him look his way. But he didn't care, and yet he still blamed the Dark Angels for this, preferably Davis. Again, not gonna disagree. He didn't realize Kari still had Ken's D3. He had to get it from her. It was the only ticket to confronting Davis. So he ran up the street to find her, knowing she couldn't have gotten too far. In the car, Dick Grayson listens onto his communicator. Switch tapes this morning, Hoskins, just like I said. The replacement's already in the system. Tapes? So it's me. Man here last night offered to pay off your debt. Who is he? This is the first I know of it. Must have been Alfie. He's a friend of my mother's. Almost so cute. Only trying to help. But, well, I don't understand. Why did you take the money? Why did you make me go ahead and switch the apartment's computer tapes? Mind your own business, sunshine. Your debt's canceled. Forget that this ever happened. I already told you, if you breathe a word about this to anyone, not only your face down the floor in the flames, taking the poor young man, he throws him against his two bodyguards. But your mother and a friend and every relative you got. Taking the cummerbund, he throws it into the trash. Get out of here, I remember. Any tricks, and your mother gets it first. Switching the department's data tapes? What's that all about? Derek works for the Ministry of Transport. His office has something to do with freight monting. Duke tell him about Eddie. Duke that's who I saw there last night. It's done, sir. All tapes are in. Good man, Hoskins. The community is meeting for dinner at my place in Kent tonight. We'll start the operation then. Come down, why don't you? This time tomorrow, you'll be a member of a very schism club, the government of Great Britain, and of course, a mass murderer. Move, Britannia! Jerk! Derek hears the voice of Alfred and turns. What are you doing here? Never mind that. I need to show you what tapes you switched. What are you talking? I know they threatened you and Joanna. Something serious is going on. We have to find out what it is. Derek, enraged, pulls his arm away from Alfred. You son of your food, cut your hands off me. This is none of your business. You're not wanted, you're not needed. Why don't you get out of your lives and leave my mother alone? As Derek storms off, Alfred looks down, feeling framed. Elsewhere, on the side of a mansion, a little dog, robotic, barks. As the guard dogs surround it, yapping at him, the dog explodes in noxious gas, knocking all four dogs out. Alfred Pennyworth knows his history. The median family has been a power in England for 1,000 years. Advisors to kings and governments. Billionaire merchant bankers in their own right. The 12th century castle in Kent is one of the finest still standing, cared for by generation after generation. Such men don't talk lightly of mass murder. Dick continues to walk through the courtyard, using his grappling line and climbs up the side of a castle. Kinda late to be so busy. Suddenly, he slips in. Gentlemen, there's no need to remind you of our common cause. We all love England. We all agree drastic action is needed. The thought of this most ancient of nations being dictated by bureaucrats in Europe fills me with disgust. General Moores, Fleet Admiral Somerset Norman is Commander Spencer. If any of you have doubts on what we are to investigate, speak now or ever. We know the risk. They consider it worthwhile. For the greater good of England. Rule Britannia. Little do they know their conversation is being watched by Dick Grayson from inside a grate. Tomorrow at dawn, the first commercial freight convoy will be carried to France through the Channel. Thanks to the esteemed Mr. Hoskins, every data bank in the southeast England accepts our truck as part of the convoy. All documentation is cleared. It'll be loaded into the tunnel transporter. Slowly, the man proceeds to load up toy cars into a small freight, driving into the tunnel. When it's traveling at 120 kilometers per hour, it will take approximately 20 minutes to reach the tunnel's deepest point, 300 feet beneath the surface of the ocean. When a pressure-sensitive timer will ignite the cargo of a high explosive. Boom! The tunnel explodes, causing the toys to careen out the tracks. If this was a real situation, everyone in that tunnel, if they weren't killed by the explosions, would drown under the Thames. They could only stare in horror. Estimated collateral damage? 200 lives, mostly British, unfortunately, but the sacrifice cannot be avoided. The real numbers involved are in the currency markets. Business insurance companies will be hammered. The stock market will collapse. The pound will take a nosedive. And the whole entire economy will be temporarily disabled. At that moment, gentlemen, is the one we must seize. My bank has pledged its entire assets. 17 billion pounds, selling the pound short all over the world. When it crashes, we will own this country. General, your troops will occupy Parliament for its own safety, of course, and guarantee the security of the royal family. Admiral Dick Grayson slowly slips away. He's supposed to be keeping watch, but his heart is in it. He's thinking of all those years. Were they wasted? Can he balance his caring for the Gotham vigilante against depriving the boy of his real father? Derek pulls Alfred out of the car. What? You rat. I followed you. Thought I told you not to interfere. You don't understand. I owe you that for my father. You're wrong. It's not your... Enough! Dick Grayson stops Derek, grabbing his arm. We don't have time for this. We have to warn the police. They'll substitute computer tapes. It means there's going to be a devastating explosion in the Channel Tunnel. That's not enough. They're blowing it up with a military coup. Semi drives by. Quickly, Dick Grayson pushes him out of the way. Wait. Get to a telephone. Let the police know what's going on. I'll try to stop him. Nightwing gets into the car, drives off. Good evening, officer. I would like to report an attempt to blow up the channel tunnel and subscribe to military coup. Yes, sir. And what size street tackle do you take? Don't know the roads around here at all. He has to be heading for the coast. I can head him off before he reaches the motorway. Looking to his map, Nightwing drives off, hoping Kent told me he could come up fast enough to stop them. Damn it! We got to come up fast. Duke said take no chances. Just get past. I can force it to slow down. Mass him! They slide a semi into the car Derek is riding. As soon as you're out of your task, news of the accident is broadcast. You move it to action. Rule Britannia! This is crazy. What have I got myself involved in? Derek and Alfred watch his friend sidelines, hidden by the bushes. All my experience suggests you refrain from thinking about it. Listen to we managed to do something to stop it. Come on! The car is smashed. There's no one inside. I hope he wasn't some workman in a hurry to get home. Like, it's all Duke said. We'll only follow orders. But as they drive, they look out the side, and Nightwing hangs on for dear life against the side of the semi. Damn! I'll take care of this guy once and for all! Holding up his gun, he shoots, firing! Moving expertly, Nightwing rolls on top of the semi. Pulling out one of his wingdings, he throws it into the gunman's hands, knocking the gun down. Ah! Swiftly, he leaps off the top. It'll run for you, pal. I'm not sure I can do this. There's no option, Derek. Derek and Alfred proceed to grab a couple of maces and slip into the castle. Some sort of drink will go, Miss Hoskins. Brandy, I think. Perhaps the only decent thing to come out of Europe. And now, clink. Unto a tomorrow and a new greater Britain. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I think you'll have to settle for the old Britain. What in the name of... Stop him, Derek! I can't! The fight is gone. And swiftly, Alfred takes out one of the men. Meanwhile, one of the higher-ups takes out a sword and stabs Derek in the heart. Ah! Meanwhile, as Nightwing is thrown off the edge of the semi, he fires his grappling line. English Channel pounds ahead against Jagger rocks below. He only has one chance. His grappling line successfully connects to the ladder on the side of the semi. And using every single skill he has ever picked up as a circus performer, swings into action! And not a single guarantee. Derek! Alright, Alfie. Just stop him. Clink! It's over, Duke. Give it up! Duke fights with his sword, clanking against steel against the mace. A gentleman never defeats the foe, sir. Especially not to one of no orders. I don't know where you get your wild idea, sir. But you, honored gentlemen, at best you're a traitor to the country you profess to love. At the worst, a callous killer. Touché. Duke slices the mace, causing the white instrument to fall to pieces. My apologies, sir, but one man's life means nothing in the greater scheme. Man's old him. Got to solve it. Can't move my wrist. He looks outside and sees, much to his horror, Nightwing swinging right into the passenger seat, knocking him out. Whack! I don't know if you creeps know what cargo you're carrying. Whack! Or if you know what it's supposed to do, but I'm sure you'll tell the police. Dick knocks the two men out of the car and into a small bunch of trees, seeing certain that they don't die. I gotta slow her down. The car drives faster. It's no good. She's out of control! Suddenly, Nightwing leaps out of the car. There's one wrong, sir. There's one thing I learned in my early years in life. It's that one man's life. Any man's life matters more than any cause. Let the Lord be your judge. What? Getting up, bleeding out profusely, Derek Masterson used his mace to slam Duke against the head. Don't move! I'll call an ambulance! Derek lays there, dying, bleeding on the floor. It's too late, Alfie. I'm sorry I hit you. So long. I'm sorry. Nightwing, meanwhile, grabs onto the branch and watches as the semi drives through the bridge, falling into the jagged rocks below. Boom! Evidence of the planned coup continues to accumulate. Several high military officials have been arrested and their men confined to barracks. Police say further arrests all planned. Click. It's a nightmare. Can't be true. Derek, my son.
My son!
Oh my. Xiden looks, tears still in her eyes.
Alfie, this isn't fair on you. I have to tell you. I lied. Derek wasn't yours. He was Johnny's. Always. I needed you to help him. Don't you see?
Silent, Alfred walks away from the woman he used to love.
Don't you see?
Closing off his heart, knowing that it has been broken once again.
I love you, Alfie, but he's my son. My son.
His heart feels empty, hollow. He knows that he loves her protectively, fiercely, with all his being, but love is trust. She shattered that.
Ironic. I helped save a country I no longer belong to. In the process,
there's a son who never belonged to me.
First he is, then he isn't. I guess I must feel.
Nightwing rests his arm on Alfred's shoulder. Mulder's bothers it might, perhaps. Master Bruce was my son for a while, and then there was you. I think I perhaps can feel satisfied with that.
What are your plans now? Retire? Open a school for butlers?
All that time I was with the Master, I was isolated from the world. Now I've seen the lives of ordinary people. Their emotions run deep, but their understanding of themselves and their lives is shallow, like children. I am used to being with men whose emotions serve their reason, Master Richard. Men who control their own destiny. Only the wise of us know his own limits and acts happily within them. Master Bruce has indeed changed his ways as you said he has. Have my things set on. I'm going home. Nightwing turns away and smiles. Some of the greatest words he's ever heard. A man he cared a lot about is coming back. There's more to this small little collection I got here that features the first few issues of Nightwing story. I might read that next, or I might read this Titan story where Tim Drake becomes Robin. It's a really good one. Features plenty of Nightwing backstory. Have you figured out that I love Nightwing yet? Here's a hint. Nightwing's my favorite character on Titans! Meanwhile, after the accident, they're all scanning her. Cyborg's looking up Raven, saying that she's power levels look abnormal and she looks abnormal. Oh, I love this part. So what happened is Marv Wolfman decided to take George Perez's growth as an artist as a plot point. He started taking the fact that George Perez would start changing Raven's design little by little, giving her more of a widow's peak, changing more of her forehead, adding more details and touches. So that way we could tell that Raven was succumbing more and more to Trigon. It was so cool! Oh, you're talking about energy levels. And not why Marv Wolfman is a pretty good writer. Sorry. Of course, saying that they need Starfire more than ever. And they can't get one of the members of the other Titans because... Oh yeah, I forgot. This is Mike's world, not the DC Universe. If this was the DC Universe, this probably would have more things in it. It probably would be cooler. But this is not the DC Universe. And they talk, and yakety, yakety, and smackety, blah, 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 blah. And they also decide to test out Raven's new powers. In Equestria, who's ready for some more Twilight bashing? None of you? Good. This is why we have the Fox Machina casts on reading these lines. Friends took Jester out to dinner, hoping to cool her off after the big upset. While they all needed time together to enter the way Spike balked down, practically threatened them to stay out of his business. Jester hardly touched their food, still unable to believe that even Celestia forbade her from doing any more experience. Blocked off the mirror gate, taking the dark power and hidden it well. So how is she going to meet up with Sunset if she wants to visit her? You do know Twilight made a machine that allows her to go at any time, right? And I can imagine Sunset's going to be a little miffed. Jester, said Yasa, are you going to be okay? Jester sighed. I don't know. I just don't know. I never felt so very again this bout. Miserable, upset, angry. Look at that bad fix, Jester. Hope you enjoy. Oh, I'm actually enjoying this very much. Spike is gone. It was mostly because of us that he went. Vex felt really upset. Well, Darcy was playing with Trinket. Don't remind me of that. The way he was such an asshole and just angered and miserable, just horrifying. Keyleth and Yang covered her. That seemed to be okay. Sasuke does eat on his tomatoes. Hey, can you keep your chairs down? I'm trying to eat here. It's hard to everyone. And Vax yelled right in his ear. How can you be so insensitive? Sasuke picked his ear. Any louder? Yeah, Yang just shook her head. You forgot who they were dealing with, didn't you? Sasuke sighed. I'm trying to be realistic. You heard what Spike said. You can't help him. You shouldn't try to help him, and that's that. I have a few friends who would probably say differently, and trust me, Micah does not want to write them. It would really beat these guys up. Yeah, pretty much. We agree. I was going to go there, but Jester looked up. Her eye was twitching with anger. Look, I get to that. I don't think the Dark Angels would be the way they are in there. So after the Dark Nightmare, negotiating away and hardly doing much. Exactly! If they were given a paradise like heaven, fine. Or even tortured in hell, fine. But this this dark zone, it's worse. It's worse than hell. At least hell has a nice hotel. What? Of course I watch Has-Been Hotel, you morons! I also love Hello Boss. Yasa growled at her teeth. But Yasa calmed her down. I hate to see it, but Discord's right. He could be more sentimental about this. Sasuke scoffed. Well, I know I'm not wanted. With that, he walked away. Just let me know when things start to get back to reality around here. Not for another several chapters, Sasuke, I'm sorry. And Faz was gone. Many probably Scotty was gone. But Vex was still upset. Vex, be upset. No, I'm busy petting Trinket. Still thinking about Spike, and how it was becoming more and more painful he couldn't accept the equality. Her and the rest of the gang. Yet only visualizing him for scolding her for being so shallow. Give me a chance because I'm not a pony. You're not a dragon. I was willing to at least try, and who knows? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, because we all know that's what Rarity would do. That's so what Rarity would say. But, no. Just no. Yeah, no. Yeah, but no. Sorry, but no. This is just you trying to write her flatterize so you could make your story work. So, yeah, but no. Sorry. Yeah. Applejack began to find her cries annoying. Because, heavens knows, a friend would treat her like that. Oh, I forgot. Mike's only friends are the imaginary ones in his head. Jester began to calm down, looked more sad and frustrated. She remained undeterred and still held her some way set to Archangel 3. Little did she or anyone else realize that, back at the Castle of Friendship, the Mirror Gate was still bound by Celestia's magical barrier. It was still absorbing the power of moonlight. Hey, Usagi, could you comment down up there? We're trying to think. Sorry. At the same time, oh boy, I get to bring out another Titan story so soon? Okay, be right back. This is the story of The Lonely Place of Dying. Chapter 1, Suspects. Written by, you guessed it, Marv Wolfman. On top of a bridge, Batman fights a man dressed in what can only be described as bondage gear. feels it numbing his leg. The water rushing like icy stars just inches below. His thigh wound throbs, scarlet smearing gray-black. A flaming pit launches in his throat as calloused fists hammer up to the solar plexus. If it were anyone else, he'd give in to his wounds, final gasps of blood-spattered air. But he is Batman. This makes him more determined. Batman ducks under the man's knife as it slides to the wall. He was led here by a series of all too obvious clues. Someone wanted him to find a Ravager. In the past 2 weeks, he had killed as many policemen. Batman hits him in the jaw with his knee. He followed them to their homes, and for no apparent reason, shot them while they slept. 2 weeks prior, he gunned down Danny and Dawn, the famous brother and sister rock act in front of 50,000 fans. No connection, no reason for the killings. The police had no clues or leads. The town police had a field day with Commissioner Gordon and his men. Hauser quickly throws up his chain, trying to latch onto something. Batman grabs it in the air and puts it to the knife. Then this morning, there was an anonymous call to Gordon. Folded like a blossomy flower, was brought him here. His breath causes short, sputtering gas as his mouth fills with warm blood. Batman swings down and kicks Ravager in the chest, knocking him into the water. Batman falls back to the wall, taking stock of his wound, breathing eases. His taut skin looses, narrow eyes, white slit of his eyes widen, only for a fraction. Watches his throat struggling to white foam. For a moment, it is over. They'll meet again. Slowly, Batman begins to walk, stumbling, his wounds hurting him, walking towards a Batmobile, driving off into the night, unaware that somebody is taking him those photos. He was hurt, but that didn't stop him. Nothing stops him. So much for Bruce Wayne. Now I can star in Dick Grayson. Someone drives off, wading through the puddles of blood. News headlines in WGCN, Gotham's only 24-hour all-news station. Gotham's oldest orphanage receives $1 million donation from the wealthy philanthropist, allowing the institution to remain open indefinitely. And Gotham's own spelling champ, 9-year-old Moon Kaplan, returns from her meeting with George Bush. Asked what she thought of the president, the absentarian said, "Read my lips. It spells something not suitable for family listening." Hello. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm back. Just for you. Evan, list waiting. Who are you? Who am I? Better to ask who we are. Come on, pal. I'm you. You're me. You know you've been going crazy for years. Ta-ta! Guess what? Congratulations. You succeeded. You're officially cracked, schizoid, and daffy as a duck. Look in the mirror, pal. You're not talking, but your lips are moving. If that ain't proof that you're several chapters shy of a book, and nothing is. So, what are we going to do today, pal? Climb a water tower, take pot shots at pedestrians? Nah, did that already. We're waiting. What are we going to do? Come on. You know what you want to do. I don't want to anymore. Sure you do. You just don't know it. Just for us. Come on, say it. Pretty please. I said to Ravager to do it and he failed. Say it, pal. Say it. Okay, we killed Batman. Congratulations. You got the right answer, Don Pardo. Tell the man what he's won. Won? My friend, you've won Batman's itinerary for 1 full week. You know where to kill him while he's pussy up some drug runners. Or maybe he'll just blow into bat-sized bat bits when he's closing in on some helpless murderer, which we set up for your viewing pleasure. You'll be given 1,000 chances to see your dream kill come true. It's all yours. Congratulations. It could have happened to a better psycho if I do say so myself. And now, back to our regularly scheduled report. Meeting the president was a dream come true. Slowly, Batman stumbles through the clock after driving back home to Wayne Manor. After Alfred manages to get him out of his suit, he dresses his wounds. Bruce writhes in pain, biting onto the tablecloth as Alfred proceeds to stitch him back together, putting him back whole. Still, he writhes, trying to control the pain that's searing white hot into his flesh. Looks so tired. He has been since Jason passed away. Alfred looks over someone looks over photos of Batman swinging, fighting, taking out criminals. Bruce hasn't been the same since he died. Newspapers don't know about Robin's death, but had stories about Batman acting well, differently. He seemed happier with Dick. Now I guess he doesn't just care. News articles pass by. Batman attacks mob. Batman on the rampage. Batman collars that don't ring. Batman batters bandits. But I want him to care again. I want him to be the Batman I remember. You remember him. And I remember Dick. The person looks at the photo of a rich man and wife standing with two trapeze artists and a young Dick Grayson. You look stronger today. Fever's passed, thanks to you. Sometimes I wonder what I'd do without you. At times, so do I, sir. Perhaps this is my place, but I care for your well-being. When I first entered your employ, I was impressed by your extraordinary planning and deductive skills. You spent as much time orchestrating your actions as executing them. Aside from muscle sprain and the occasional pulled ligament, all your medical attention needed was minimal. Firstly, since Master Chief's death, your attention to detail has been unimpressive, to say the least. It is highly coincidental that you required almost constant doctoring. The past 2 weeks, you have been shot twice, stabbed twice. You have been bloodied and bludgeoned by foes you once could have danced around without thinking. I distinctly remembered when you first instructed Master Dick in combat. You said, "We're not brutalizers. We've got to go in with our heads, not with our fists." God, I wish more people who wrote Batman would listen to this part! Since Master Jason's death, you changed. It seems, sir, all you need to know how to do, all you're thinking with those badly bruised and battered knuckles. Yesterday, you collapsed from your wounds. I cannot be certain that the next time you survive them. So, as enough as you might be to hear this, I do not intend to spend the rest of my life playing nurse. Sir! Bruce says nothing. Alfred can only stand in shock before walking out the door, leaving Bruce Wayne to stay alone in his lonely little room, alone with his thoughts. But those are not thoughts that he needs to focus on. He's got work to do. Getting out of the bed, he walks down, shaves, puts on his suit, and drives off into the Batmobile, into the night. Meanwhile, Raven's training. She's practicing. They're deciding to try out the Dark Energy and all of Raven's new powers. She's fighting. She's going crazy. And then she proceeds to go insane and nuts. And then they looked up her monitor when she's in training, where she's going nuts. And, oh, for Pete's sake, I can't believe this. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am about to read is actually in this story. And I want to personally apologize. No. I'll be right back. Mom, for what I'm about to read on this Titan story from Mikey, I would like to sincerely apologize for the utter stupidity that's about to cross my lips, and I want to say that I in no way believe any of this bullshit I'm about to read. So, on behalf of guys everywhere, I am sorry for insulting your gender. Come here. Let me give you a big hug. That's it. Thank you. You may leave now. There. I actually officially apologized to a woman. I feel better in my life. Look at this, Tara cried, pointing at the med readings which showed Raven's hormones were going crazy. Shit, she's having another period! Yep, folks. Raven's Dark Aura is going crazy, and her training is going wonky because she's having a period. Should I just fast forward through the rest of this chapter? Because I don't think you can get dumber than this. I don't think you can get more insulting to the female gender than that line. I'm fast forwarding. There's literally nobody I can top this scene. Just no. Kyrie in the other scene proceeds to give up her D3 and gives Ken back his. That's when Ichigo grabs it and starts ranting and starts saying what we're all thinking. How they're making Kyrie feel sorry when she shouldn't be. That's number one. They don't do anything better than accept sit on their sidelines and watch us all suffer. Again, no lies. I mean, seriously, you claim to steal Dark Aura, but then a baby still dies. Claim to absorb it, and there are still dictators. What are you draining? What benefit to society are you making by draining Dark Aura? I asked this again and again. So far, this fic has provided no answers. All it says is, how do you think you get your lucky breaks when you save the day? Well, apparently they didn't get any lucky breaks then, because the baby still died. Nobody is stopping any more war criminals. So, it can't be that. DK, of course, says what we all are all thinking. I want it to end. Kari says he's being paranoid. Ken has Wormmon wrap TK in a bunch of nets. Everybody is rapping. We are all watching them fight and argue and just rumbling and, of course, angry and being mad, and it's causing the dark power in the D3 to resonate. Meanwhile, everybody heads back into the castle and sees that the mirror gate is flooding and overloading. And wait. You can't be serious. You can't tell me that you're really going to be pissed off, Erebus, at a bunch of random events happening. I mean, all the Titans are trying to do is train with their powers. Twilight was stopped from her experimentation. The only reason why it happened anyway was because the solar panels were still on, because nobody thought to turn them off or pull them away. Solar panels, which I might add, don't exist in Equestria. And all that happened in the digital world was DK getting mad and just ranting at everybody, just arguing with each other. These events are not directly connected to you guys. Isn't this like stubbing your toe and blaming the president? Because Biden left that stone there? Meanwhile, they, of course, are asking who to thank for this, and then they look over the hills. Raven suddenly pops up, and then proceeds to explain that this isn't her fault. All that happened was that she accidentally absorbed the power from Beast Boy and was practicing it with it. And then suddenly, boom, he randomly shows up here. And Erebus proceeds to act like a whiny child, telling him that you dare interfere with Dark Angels, but you dare to use our powers. Dude, it was an accident. You're really getting pissed off over a mistake. And that she didn't really mean to come here. Oh, but she has attitude. Oh no! Attitude! So that's horrifying. I have a simple request. Oh wait, I forgot. This is Mikan. He wants everybody to go, please. Oh, and don't forget to worship at the Church of Mikan next Tuesday. And the Mirror Gate, and the Sun Crystal, and the D3, and everything all just so happens to start warping and causing distortions at the same time, and everything's wrecking, and everything's going crazy, and nobody can shut it down, even though they are trying to. But, however, of course, they're going to get blamed for it because nobody likes an accident. And there's a great swords and distorted by the darkness being shifted and damaged in ways that are unimaginable. How is the dimension being damaged? In ways unimaginable! You'll be surprised. Are there fires? Are there quakes? Is it starting to look like Apocalypse Ground Zero? What is it? What's it look like? You're not gonna tell me, are you? Look, it's just that it's unimaginable. Deal with it. No, because you have no idea how my mind works. I'm sorry to tell you this, but if you don't describe, it's not gonna look good. This is a literary medium. Worse than that, this is Spike Warren. Meanwhile, all the Dark Angels everywhere are starting to feel it, like they're sensing a disturbance in the force, are getting shake, rattle, world, shake, rattle, roll, and there's huge rifts. Everybody's seeing a lot of distortions. It's starting to look like Anti-Monitor rising it up again. And, I mean, everybody's feeling it everywhere. And then Jedi brings everybody into the digital world. The contestant manages to get off before all his parents die. And meanwhile, at Dove City, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Going to hell in a handbasket. And meanwhile, in Equestria, Spike's doing what he does best and is roaring, blaming the ponies, yada, yada, yada. And everyone in the Immortals shuddered at how fearful, and how pissed Erebus is. Because, oh no, Erebus is mean. Erebus is mad. Oh, please, you're just another whiny god wannabe who's pissed off. Now, if you're a Darkseid, I'd be scared, but you're not. You're just a wannabe. And because these three worlds are causing trouble, he stands up, starts letting his hair go all the while, changing from a Discworld elf to Blackheart. I'm sorry, but no, we're not using that clip. Our ways of peace and silence are no more. The morals have desecrated us. 3. And it's on accident. Not just in life was sent us here, but caused nothing but disturbance and pain. 3 people. 3. Now it's time to act. Our new priorities to fade each and every single world, every dimension, and make that world ours. You know, you're not helping the whole entire evil bit, right? Every Dark Angel agreed and cheered with prosper and willingness. Remember, it's not their fault. Actually, Mike on the blog said that there's a reason for this. You see, he based this off of some sort of Super Marionette Vision thing where a bunch of humans accidentally caused a disturbance on an alien world, and the aliens were attacking all of humanity because of the humanity's mistake. And I don't think Micah realizes this, but the aliens in that show were the bad guys. We were supposed to see the aliens as in the wrong for making this mistake, for doing this, going over the top for doing this, and for being total assholes for trying to kill all the humans just for a simple mistake. So yeah, what a way to misunderstand the message of the show you're trying to copy, Mikan! But hey, you always did that, don't you? Everybody's panicking, everybody's running, and meanwhile Erebus unlocks their powers so they can no longer be restricted, and now they're solid. And they absorbed all the Dark Aura for eons, increasing their powers, whatever those might be, on every world and every universe, and even the spaces in between planets. You mean the stars? Anti-Monitor is considering to sue Erebus. And Yelly complains that they have pissed off the gods. So? I'm sorry, I broke into crayons for a minute. Mortals, you'll never again see the light of day! We're not intimidated by roars from a Disney cartoon! More on PF follows, Erebus roars, ranting, tells everybody to go out and destroy, conquer, take back what's taken from them. Whatever that is. Proceeds to help his fellow angels go into Kagame's world, even though Kagame's world has nothing to do with this. He proceeds to commit genocide, even though that wasn't exactly good. And then he proceeds to do the exact same thing. Proceeds to. Oh, wait. You're turning this into. I'm sorry, I was just thinking what this is. They're all turning to dust. I'm sorry for saying to me, but. Oh, I don't feel so good. My apologies. Davis proceeds to start speaking German for a few minutes. Die! Destroying everybody like a video game. Meanwhile, June gets killed before moaning that he never even got to have sex with Ty. Really? All that time dating? And then everybody gets sucked in. There's a dark aura present, and then he has to watch this student dies, getting hit with an explosion. Essentially, third impact happens. Only with a lot less subtext and a lot more boring, and a lot less interesting things happening. And of course, does his favorite thing, kills a baby. Like, I'm not even intimidated. And yes, for those of you, for a certain group of riffers who read my riff and said, "Hi, you do sound angry." No, this is exactly how I sounded when I wrote that. Oh, killed another baby. Wow, I'm not even mad. Boring is all more like it. I mean, you kill one baby. Where do you go from here? You're not really shocking. And as always, gore is supposed to be shocking and it's supposed to, be intense. But when you start killing randomly like this, it becomes a lot less impactful. And it just becomes dull. And all you're seeing is just the darkness spreading all over, and the many creatures of many dimensions, human, alien alike, tried to battle the Dark Angels, but it was completely fruitless. Not even reality benders. Really? Or those that can control cosmic galaxies had the power to stop it. Really? Really? Reality bending doesn't work. You do realize you're part of reality, right? Since Erebus was a creator who helped make such energies! Yeah, and Pegasus created dual monsters, but, Atom kicked his ass, didn't he? I'm sorry, but this is another one of those. You're a god! How can we hope to beat you? By knowing how to do it. Or being Kratos. But he was a creator who helped make such energies. Yeah. You may create something, but just because you make it doesn't make you in full control of it. Other people can master it better than you and do it better than you. That has been proven time and time again in multiple shonen, seinen, and American stories. Remember, folks, just because somebody says that they created it doesn't mean you can't surpass it and improve it. And this is Erebus' problem. He created it, but that was thousands of years ago. He continued to roar, and Raven had to teleport everybody away, and he's talking about Vid, but what Vid? There's... Hello? Oh. Are we talking about that same Aladdin vid? But that doesn't match. It really doesn't match up. And then Erebus talks about how now the darkness is only his, and the end. I told you I was going to fast forward through this. I'm sorry, but the moment you start saying that her problems are caused by her period, that's when I walk.